the proposed agenda. The committee is doing its own deliberations on the Criminal Law Forensic Procedures Amendment Bill. This is after we have listened to all the inputs from the different stakeholders. And then we have to adopt the minutes. Do you accept that agenda? Do I have a proposal for adoption?
Can I move for the adoption, Chair?
Thank you very much, Honorable Morekwa moves for adoption. Do I have a seconder?
Good morning, Chair. I second.
Thank you very much, Honorable Peacock seconds. Could we have the apologies? Honorable Whitfield is out of the country. Honorable Molekwa is doing public hearings. Patrain has maternity leave. Meshu has apologized. And Dr. Groenewald will be leaving early. The minister is in cabinet, and this is the committee's deliberations. So the person I really want in the meeting is the deputy minister, so that he could listen to the deliberations. I'll find out if he is available. If not, we have to continue with the deliberations. I do see the civilian secretariat here. After we have taken the inputs from the civilian secretariat, will also give its inputs. Honorable Siabe will also be leaving early. Honorable Siabe, your hand is up. Shaky Mum, Honorable Siabe, your hand is up.
Thanks, Chair. I wanted to say what you already said, that I might be in and out. I have an event in my constituency office with the Deputy Minister in the presidency.
Honorable Siabe, we do have a quorum, so you may be excused whenever. We do understand they're doing the district development model, and the presidency is in our various areas to do oversight work. The deputy minister is also doing oversight work, and he is also going to be part of the presidency's oversight visits. So we understand that. Honorable members, could I now take the minutes? The minutes is on the screen. These are the minutes of the 16th of March.
Chairperson?
Yes, Dr. Groenewald?
Chairperson, I apologize for that meeting. So my name, I was not present. That was the 16th, so I did apologize. So the name must thus be changed to apologies.
Babawa, can you change that, please? Thank you. We now have Dr. Groenewald with the apologies. We can move down. Page 1. Page 2. I think this is a very important set of minutes, since this will capture some of our deliberations of the bill. Next page, the presentation by the departments. Page 5, closing remarks. Are you happy? Are there any other corrections? Additions you would like to make? Thank you very much. Honorable members, do I have a proposal for the adoption of the minutes?
I move, Chair.
The
Honorable
Honorable
Siabe
moves. Honorable Siabe moves. Do we have a seconder? Will you just,
Linda Moore seconded, Chair.
Honorable Moss seconds the adoption of the minutes. Honorable members, what I will do is, Nicolette, I know I didn't ask you to prepare for this, but if you could just give us a recap of some of the discussions, and the Civilian Secretariat also gives us a recap. You have now listened to the inputs from the public, just not a presentation, but Nicolette, if you could also just give us a recap of some of the deliberations and the discussions we've had, I think it will assist us in our discussions today. Nicolette, could you just do a brief overview of the presentations we have had? We'll then do you have the bill for us to flight the bill? Do we have the bill online?
Good morning, Chairperson. Baba, if you can give me housing rights, I will share the bill.
Okay, you have to share the bill so that we can go through it clause by clause. Nicolette, can you then just give us can you give us a rundown, just a brief rundown of the inputs we have received? Thank you very much.
Chairperson, thank you very much. I think I'm going to just quickly go through the discussions today, and then we will flight the amendment bill. Chairperson and honorable members, I think one of the key discussions was regarding the capacity of the DNA analysis and forensic service sciences laboratory. A lot of discussion went into this, Chairperson, but I think this is a very key issue that can be addressed through policy rather than through the bill. Then another key concern that was raised regarding the contract management of FSL consumables and the maintenance of equipment at the Forensic Science Laboratory. Then, Chairperson, another issue that was raised was the sustainability of the intervention model, especially in terms of working overtime and having staff members being overloaded with work. And the departments indicated that this is a very short-term approach and that by August, the backlog will be cleared, and then the overtime issues will be also eradicated. Chair, members also raised concern about the lack of equal resourcing at laboratories. And it seemed like, for instance, the Western Cape Laboratory is better resourced than the one in Pretoria, which is the head office. The department indicated that these resourcing issues will be addressed going forward, and that the plan or the ideal would be that every province would have the basic capacity to do forensic analysis, and then very complex will be done in bigger laboratories. Chair and honorable members, and then the issue of minimum force was also discussed quite intensely. But I think the department made it very clear that the use of minimum force is well established within South African law. One key aspect is that the bill does provide for the development of national instructions regarding what is considered to be minimum force, and this should be developed as a matter of urgency. And then, Chairperson, there was concerns raised about the board, but I don't think I'm going to go into that. Chair, and then lastly, a lot of concern was raised around the Schedule 8 offences. Now, during the deliberations, we talked about Section 36D1 sub B sub V of the Criminal Procedures Act. Now, that already states that vehicle samples may be taken from any person charged or convicted by a court, and then concerns were raised. Why is the bill then necessary to actually account for these? Chair, and then it was Secretariat that made it quite clear that the bill is only aimed at Schedule 8 offenders that was already incarcerated before the 2-year transitional period lapsed, and that this bill only takes away the limited time or the time limit provided to take vehicle samples of already convicted Schedule 8 offenders. Chairperson, in a nutshell, I think that is the discussions to date.
Thank you very much, Nicolette. Honorable members, I will now ask that the bill be flighted and that we go through the bill in a clause by clause fashion. You can either go through it clause by clause, or you can highlight which clauses you want amended. I'm not going to go through it immediately clause by clause. I'm going to ask Honorable Groenewald and then Honorable Siabe to give their inputs before I will take it clause by clause if members so desire. Nicolette, can you flight the bill so that we can follow the discussions? Dr. Groenewald, you can give your input, and where you refer to the bill, we will scroll to that section of the bill. Dr. Groenewald and then Honorable Siabe.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I'm going to mute my video to ensure a better signal. So if you don't mind on that one.
You may
Chair,
go ahead.
Thank you. I'm not going to take. I think I can stay for an hour, 2 hours or so. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to put in broad, because if I go now clause by clause, I think I'm going to waste some time. I think what is important, and that is what I've looked at, there are actually the matter, and it came from the Secretariat, and it says quite clearly that the committee will request confirmation from the SAPs on operational, financial and resource level on their ability to meet their targets with the further implementation of the bill. Now, Chairperson, it is a serious matter because if we come forward with an amendment bill and in the end there's problems from SAPs to implement and the ability to comply to that, we're going to get into the same situation as at present. Well, I know technically it was only for a specific period and we have to extend that. What I want to say, Chairperson, this should not be a reason not to comply to the bill. And we as lawmakers have the obligation towards the public to ensure that there are legislation in place which can protect them. And therefore, I think that we should write the bill as we think is in the best interest, and of course, in the whole process of fighting crime. Now, I think there was one of, I think it was Legal Aid South Africa, someone, one of the submissions said that it does not necessarily reduce crime when you take vehicle samples, and there are other ways to effectively, can I say, reduce crime in a society. But I do personally believe that it does make a
Recording
contribution.
stopped.
It does
Recording
make
in progress.
it does make a contribution in the eradication of crime if we continue on that. I want to say on that matter that, you know, in other countries, yes, you can make comparisons, but there are some other factors, like, for instance, say, the community as such. They don't have such high rates of crime, and they have other methods of checking if people, for instance, have previous convictions or not. I think they have more to their availability, specifically if you look at specific IT systems and anything. So I want to say that I think that we must continue to ensure that we write the bill in such a way that it is in the best interest. And then we must go and see, and then it is a challenge for the police services. Well, in this specific case, for the forensics laboratories, to ensure that they comply to it. And we as committee, if, for instance, financial issues are the problem, we as committee must play a role to ensure that the finances are available or made available so that we can comply to that. So that is on that. I think what is also important is that the Secretariat consulted with SAPS prior to putting into operation from 31 January 22, as I said, of Section 36D1 of the CPA, namely the obligatory taking of DNA samples of Schedule 8 offenders, and was assured that the section can be implemented. So I think that is also important, that SAPS actually said to the Secretariat that they can comply with that. I think that's an important, can I say, departure point on this bill. Chairperson, and then what I want to say is, on the submission from SAPS itself, they said, and they've named some principles to consider in the proposed national instruction. But note that is in the proposed national instruction. So I think that we must continue. We can look at the bill clause by clause. Let me say, in principle, I think this is a very necessary bill. And in the end, we must see how we as committee can assist to ensure that when it comes to the application of the bill, when it becomes law or the application of the law, that SAPS must comply to that. That for that, Chairperson, I think I will have it for at least 2 hours, so we can go then clause by clause, and I will then comment if it's necessary. Thank you for the opportunity, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Groenewald. Honorable Siabi.
Thank you, Chair. I think generally from the process and inputs that were done last week, one is happy. I would, my input would be that I would have been comfortable with aligning the bill with what is already there in law, especially in the Criminal Procedures Act. For example, the input by COSATU that requested that we include all schedules. Now, in the input last week, it was said that that is already catered for in the Criminal Procedures Act. I would have been comfortable if that is aligned to what we are discussing in the bill, so that there's no confusion. When we read the two, they talk to one another, they are aligned. Even with the use of minimum force, it was explained that it is already catered for in law, but if we were to align it to what we are talking about in the bill, so that once it is signed off, it is ascended to by the president, when you read it, you know that it is already aligned to the act. Otherwise, if we don't align or even refer to the Criminal Procedures Act, which is already law, then one and our people who are not that learned very much, they must read from this one, go and read from the other one before they can make sense of what they want to do. That would be my input, Chair. But generally, one is fine. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Work. If you need to leave, you're welcome to do so. What we needed was to capture your inputs and your thoughts. Honorable members, would you like to give your inputs and thoughts the way in which I received those of Honorable Groenewald and Honorable Siabi? Or would you now like me to go through the bill clause by clause? Honorable members, I await your input. Honorable Tablanche, your hand is up.
Yes, Chairperson, good morning, and good morning to the colleagues. I am glad to be back again due to my...
Welcome back, Honorable Tablanche. We are happy that you're back.
Thank you, Chairperson. You know, I had this very, a lot of medical procedures, but I'm fine, and I even have a broad smile again. Chairperson, getting to my input.
Honorable Tablanche, you are very out of order. How can you tell us you've got a broad smile and we can't see it?
Chairperson, here I am, and I'm even smiling.
You definitely have a good smile. Thank you very much. You can switch off your video if you need it. If you need to switch off your video, you may continue.
Chairperson, thank you. You will appreciate that in a way I'm a bit in a disadvantage at the moment, but I went through all the documentation, and thank you for everything that was forwarded to me. And yeah, I want to start by saying that this is a very, very important piece of legislation. And, to ensure that, that the police and our criminal justice system will be able to deal effectively with criminals, obviously this is important, and therefore you have my 200% support. Chairperson, one must remember that this bill, contains mainly two clauses. The one deals with definitions, and the other deals with a sampling of convicted Scheduled 8 offenders. And the reason for that is, and that was covered already by my colleagues, is the fact that the police did not, do their thing during the allowed period, and therefore this legislation then. So I welcome the opportunity that this legislation will allow the police to catch up, and it was said already, a concern is that the police will have to ensure this time around, that they do it within an acceptable time frame. The Honorable Groenewald already mentioned the issue of financial ability to implement, and I really think that from the National Commissioner's side, and the ministry, everything needs to be done well. The police's side to ensure that a proper budget will be allocated for this purpose. Chairperson, then I also noted in the documentation that I got, it was mentioned the importance of the backlog, and the police indicated that they will be able, it's in their scope to be able to deal with this um, additional, let's call it workload. And I really appreciated that. Chairperson, then I am concerned, and that was also dealt with extensively rather, by the committee. I am concerned about the board's involvement to date, and I think really that is something that we must request the police and the board. We really need to request the board, to up their performance and ensure that they fulfill their role, because we as a country and as a committee, we are very, very dependent on the board's performance. Chairperson, then the issue of the ability of the labs and bringing them up to speed and aligning them, to ensure that all of them have the same ability. I want to know when the lab in KZN will be finally now brought up to speed to deal with whatever they need to do. And the last thing that is just, in passing that I want to say, I want to know whether, why is the Western Cape better equipped? Is it mainly because the lab in the Western Cape is the newest and the latest laboratory that was built by the police, or what is the main reason for that? Chairperson, for now, I will stop at that. And once we dealt, on a, let's say, clause by clause basis, I will maybe have something else to say. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Blanche, Honorable Shembeni, and then Honorable Marekwa.
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. I won't be that much too long, since my honorable members, like Honorable Blanche has mentioned. I was just checking with the amendment of the bill. My understanding, it was about, or it is about, the time frame that was set from 2015 to 2017, whereby the SAPS could not complete the taking of buccal samples over the arrested or convicted Schedule 8 offenders. Whereas at the same time, they were covered by the criminal law, the Section 36, to continue doing their work. Now, I see it is very easy, like Honorable Siabi also said, just to take this thing to align them, and then we pass this bill, and then I think that is the only thing that is to be done. With the other issues are covered. The DNA board, remember, they came with their action plan, and that we could see by the developments in their the FSL. There is a lot of changes there. The backlog, they're fighting it. The issue of the contracts have been dealt with, and these other issues. Now, as I'm saying, it's just that on the bill, it was the issue of the 2015 to 2017, which we are going to deal about it here, of which is covered by the criminal law. I think that is that, Chair. The other things, I think they are mostly covered. So there is nothing serious that we can still be going or beating about the bush here, as we stated. Thank you very much, Chair. And then I think the other issues on the issue of the minimum force, the issue of the minimum force, it's not also explained in the criminal laws. What do we say about the minimum force? But I think we'll have to go back onto that one, that what do we do if a person refuses, other than sentencing maybe there must be something else that is being done. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Shimbeni. Honorable Marekwa.
Good morning, Chair.
Honorable Marekwa, could you turn off your
Good morning,
video?
members.
Honorable Marekwa, could you switch off your video? Your
May I
line.
proceed, Chair?
Thanks. Thanks. That's better. That's better. Honorable Marekwa.
Okay. Yes, Chair.
You may
May I
continue.
proceed?
Yes, yes, we can hear you now.
Hello, Chair.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thanks, Chair. No, okay, Chair. Thank you so much. Once more, good morning. Honorable Chair, honorable members, I think from my side, having listened to the inputs of all the presentations in the last week and so on all the sectors in terms of the bill, how far and the preparations that they have made or the observations that they have made coming out from the bill. I think what pleases one is that all the parties were in principle agreeing and approving the bill, but highlighted they need to be looked into and in order to make the bill a success. From my side, Chair, I think also that the bill will be, as we work on the bill and when it's approved, I think it will assist and strengthen the hand of the criminal justice cluster in making sure that cases before the police, before the courts are dealt with not without delays, because the samples and the backlog that all the presenters were talking to seems to be a barrier at the stage in terms of the delays and making prosecution waiting trials or cases being dismissed from the road because of lack of evidence. So I think most of them spoke to that, which I of the police needs to be looked into, because if we don't attend to it, if it's not attended to, it will also still hamper even if the bill is passed. It will still be a problem, and so I think that the strengthening of the police and incapacitating them, making sure also that we don't focus on the 4 laboratories at Western Cape, Gauteng, and so Eastern Cape on laboratories, because the delay and the cost implications of traveling from, for instance, say Northern Cape to Pretoria, Northern Cape to Eastern Cape, also is a problem. So I think the sooner, the better they decentralize and make sure that making the task and the job of the criminal criminal justice cluster easy for everybody. And I think as a committee, we will also appreciate this if they can do that, because really currently, as much as they say they've got the capacity, it's still a problem. And I think the issue of maintenance also should be looked into. The machines they are using, sometimes they are not working even in the bigger or the currently running laboratories becomes a problem when they are not being
Honorable Marekwa,
properly managed
Honorable
and
Marekwa, can I interrupt?
yeah, managed and what do you call this process of
Honorable members, is it Marekwa's
making sure they
connection?
are up and running and up to the task to deal with the number of cases and samples that comes to them. With regard to allows in terms of minimum force, there was an issue of members of offenders who refused to have their samples taken and so on. But I think on the issue of minimum force, I think it was dealt with, and I think law allows to an extent. Once you are arrested, the limitation of rights and so on. And the other one is I can't hear you, Chair. I can't hear. Am I audible, honorable members?
You are not very audible.
Yes.
Honorable Marekwa, Honorable Marekwa, we're struggling to hear you. Shaky mom, you also breaking up. Shaky mom, you also breaking up. Honorable Marekwa, we're struggling to hear you.
I realize that the host keeps muting me.
It's because we can't, Nicolette.
Can I come in?
No, Shaky mom, even your network is bad. Nicolette, can you tell us what is going on, please?
Chairperson, apologies to Honorable Marekwa.
Yes,
apologies to Honorable Marekwa. I just muted it to give you an opportunity to indicate that she is very audio is very bad and we can not really hear.
Honorable Marekwa, you made a very, very good input, but we are all struggling to hear you. And you also can't hear me because I keep on speaking to you, but you don't hear me. To tell you that your connection is very bad. Honorable Marekwa, if you do not get a better connection, then you must put your input in writing. Can you maybe assist me on this, because I'm not hearing the gist of and following the gist of your input, but you're making very, very sound comments. Honorable Marekwa? Is she muted, or I see her speaking, but I can't hear her? The host is not at all. Not at all. We can't hear you. Honorable Marekwa, we can't hear you at all. Honorable members, can I don't know who is Makabeni. Can I try Shaky Mum, and then I will call Marekwa while Shaky Mum.
Thank you, Chairperson. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yes,
Okay?
sorry, I wasn't. Sorry.
Honorable Marekwa, can I call you, please? I'll call you telephonically. Shaky Mum, you can continue.
Thank you, Chairperson. Sorry, I was in the basement of the parking about to go and attend the Chief Whip's meeting. But yes,
Can
let me
all-
first of all, let me first of all welcome. Let me first of all welcome the bill. Indeed, the National Freedom Party supports this bill. However, I think we need to be mindful of some of the challenges that we face. Now, passing this bill is one thing, Chairperson, but being able to implement is where the problem is going to come. The question we need to ask is, does the department have the capacity in terms of technical capacity, first of all? Secondly, does it have the financial resources? Because here, what we are going to do is actually compel the department to comply in terms of the act. And we know that the department for a long period of time has been having serious challenges in terms of delivering time history. Now, the other problem that we found, and I think it has come through the hearings and things, is the unequal laboratories that we have over, all over the country, which I think must be addressed so that, we could provide quality services at all laboratories. Because if you're going to rely from, samples from one particular province to be transported to another province, there's a lot of implications there. And we know that we've already have serious challenges with corruption and other problems. And I think so we must try and minimize that to ensure that DNA samples must be dealt with in the respective provinces. On the issue, of whether the department is going to be able to, who said that their backlog could be dealt with by end of August. Clearly, if you saw the report yesterday on what is happening in Gauteng alone, clearly, I think, there's no way the department is going to be able to be able to achieve that. But I think the most important thing for me, Chairperson, will be this portfolio committee, after having this bill passed, should and must conduct monitoring and evaluation over the department in this particular aspect to ensure that we can work together with them, ensure they get the necessary resources, they get the technical skill. Because, Chairperson, most of these technical skills are being taken away by the private sector. And it is because of unhappiness, working conditions, and things at state institutions. So I think that if we can assist the department in making sure that they are able to implement this, even when it comes to budgets, no point in them coming to us with budgets and we give them a budget, but not enough of that budget is appropriated to this particular DNA at the laboratories and things. So I think if we can do that, then together we'll be able to make this a success. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honorable Shaky Man. S. Makabeni is from the Department of Justice, so we'll give him an opportunity. I'm just trying to see if he's from the state, he's the state law advisor. I see in the chat group that he is the state law advisor. Could I please first see if I can get Murekwa again? Is she logged in now? Or else I will give the state law advisor an opportunity to speak. Is Murekwa back? She said she would log in from a different gadget.
Honorable Chair, she is not back yet.
All right, could we take the state law advisor now, please? Could you first show your face so that we can see? Oh, Honorable Murekwa is back. Honorable Murekwa. Honorable Murekwa, today is not your day. We see your sound. Your sound is moving, but we can't hear you. Honorable Murekwa, we really, there's nothing coming out. Honorable Murekwa, there's nothing happening on your side. I will have to give the state law advisor. You can come in now.
Thank you, Chair. I'll remove the video now.
You can
Chair.
remove, yes.
Thanks, Chair. I just wanted to deal with the issue of alignment, Chair, that has been raised by Honorable Siabi and Honorable Shembe. The issue of is that the amendments that were brought about, Chair, were contradicted with the Amendment Act of it inserted 6E to the criminal procedure act. Also in the criminal procedure act. The sector also affected amendments to the database, the nation of the and as you the amendments were part of the decisional arrangement
the intent of the bill is to the next class of the human so is not the issues they highlighted to say that they need to be in that the capacity of this is important because for laboratories it is important that the police have names of the eventually also to focus to get the laboratory so it was necessary to deal with the sample that they are given and the court is to the process the laboratories office and if you have also cover the extra backlog that they will have in the offices so that the minutes of the machine is going to be employing whatever of communication so that our next the next and in terms of network we don't have the machines and everything work some skills and which still have like because we have issues and
on Friday. You're all happy with it. And we have listened to your inputs on the one day. We'll send you a draft agenda for your input And we want to do as much work before the meeting and so that we can have a productive session for Friday. Honorable members, please remember that it will be a whole day session. So clear your diaries. We cannot have people leaving by lunchtime or something like that. We'll keep it tight, we'll keep it to the point, and we'll keep it accurate. Any other business for today, Honorable Whip? Honorable members, do you have anything else that you need to mention today? If not, you are all okay. Honorable members, I'm trying to ascertain if there's anything else we needed to raise today. Any
I'm covered,
outstanding?
Chairperson. I'm covered.
Chairperson,
Yes. Shembeni?
yes, sir. I heard that the reservist at Toy in Pretoria somewhere or Johannesburg in the offices of the SAPS about the enlistment. I don't know whether you did hear that. What is the situation? What can the SAPS tell us about that, the developments there?
Thank you very much. Honorable Shembeni, we have the Civilian Secretariat here today. So I'll definitely find out from SAPS and try and get feedback to you as soon as possible.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Yes?
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. Good morning, colleagues. No, mine would be on a follow-up on that issue that I had brought to the committee about those persons who had complained and stuff. So I just wanted to check, maybe have you received any response from the minister or the national commissioner, or what is the way forward now?
Honorable Majosi and honorable members, whether